Last week, we reported that Leslie Headland was going around begging fans to do letter writing campaigns and the like to get an Acolyte Season 2 campaign going. The indication's clear that Disney's not likely to be renewing this train wreck of Star Wars, the $180 million price tag for these 8 short episodes that everybody hated. Now, it looks like the media's got more information that this is unlikely to return. Their big diversity experiment has completely failed. Get woke, go broke is 100% accurate here. This was like what not to do with diversity hires, like the lesson. If you have a class on it, this is 100% it with the Acolyte. And we'll get into the news in just a moment. And it looks like Kathleen Kennedy wants to step away from Star Wars too. Good riddance. Maybe all these people can just go away. At some point, Disney's going to have to answer and get rid of these crazy people who are just destroying all of their brands, losing left and right. Because it's about to be time for the reckoning, at least where investors are involved. My name's John Arroz, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here. We're all about science fiction and about good writing, especially as I am a professional writer, and I've got a wonderful replacement for Star Wars from you. If you like action adventure, if you like the whole serial adventures like it used to be, like wonderful, high heroism in your storytelling, you should check out my graphic novel, The Hidden Emperor, on Kickstarter. I recommend grabbing the complete Ayla Rin stories. You'll get some great stuff here. People are saying this is fantastic. We got a review for one of my books this morning, which just has me exuberant, just saying that I really understand classic comic storytelling beyond anybody else in the indie sphere. And you can see it's been a huge success so far. Would love for you to get in on this. It is a standalone story. You can just buy this too. Thanks for supporting the channel and supporting our artistic efforts. We have a great community here, and it's been wonderful so far. That link's in the description below, and I thank you again. All right. So here's what we got from the Direct Access Media here, who says that fans may never see an Acolyte Season 2. I think most fans want to never see an Acolyte Season 2. Episode 8 closed on a strange thing. They just basically flipped the two girls. Like, one was evil to start, one was good to start, and now the good one's going evil and the evil one's going good. I mean, it literally just had no point to the entire show. And then they tried to tease at the very end, Yoda's here, in order to try to get you to buy into a season 2. And that was it. Like, that's the only thing they really offered as a cookie to Star Wars fans in this travesty, which made the Jedi into bad people, the Sith into these, like, hot people to lust after, in this, like, super bizarre, poorly written thing. And that's exactly what happened. So, due to the Acolyte's poor reception, record low score on Rotten Tomatoes, there were concerns the non-canon plot threads would never be realized. Aw, nobody's actually concerned about this except for Leslie, who's going to lose her job here. So less than a month after Episode 8 dropped, Star Wars audiences received their first unofficial update on the show's prospects. Christian Harloff shared, "There's no world where it's getting a Season 2. Womp, womp, womp." Now, remember, the Rotten Tomatoes, they said for a long time, was just review bombing. It was just people being not nice to the show because they're racist, sexist bigots, right? They weren't actually people who didn't like the show. The show's super popular among the youth demographic. Well, guess what? All that's lies. All that was spin from Disney. And the intent to that was one thing. They were trying to get a political cause going to try to get people to go on Rotten Tomatoes and, like, make the reviews look better. That was the whole intention of it. Now, at the very end of it, I think the Yoda little scene did help, is what happened. But if you go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at the Acolyte, even now, it's now sitting at 17%. So it was not, there was no, like, ending. There's no people who came in after this. Was not a controversy anymore because it's not being talked about anymore, really, to come in and boost this show. Just nobody watched this. I was talking with somebody who's actually involved in the entertainment industry yesterday about this kind of thing. And I'm not going to dox the person, but because they shouldn't be talking to me. But he told me that, you know, what's interesting is, like, you used to hear talk about Star Wars, about Doctor Who, Star Trek. Like, people, you would have normies kind of talk about it periodically. When you go out into the culture these days and you talk to the normies, there's nobody who's talking about the Acolyte whatsoever. Nobody who's talking about new Doctor Who whatsoever. And so the only people who are debating it are the hardcore fans, of which there's some shills, and then most people who are hardcore fans hate it and have tuned out of it too. So these are abject failures as shows. You have to have normies talking about a show in order for it to have any kind of success, and that talk didn't exist. Like, the normies really they tuned out a while back. They tuned out with The Last Jedi. They said these films just suck, and then they just disappeared. So when they're not even involved in the conversation, this is what you get. The hardcore fans hate it because it's a bastardization of what the show once was. So he said, I heard from somebody that said they heard from somebody pretty close inside, somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So take it with a grain of salt. But from what I heard from this particular person is that there's no world Acolyte gets a season 2. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty obvious. I mean, Disney spent way too much on this. They're not going to get the return on it whatsoever. Didn't get subscribers for Disney Plus. It's a bad deal. There's some evidence saying Lucasfilm intended for the Acolyte to continue with the second season, obviously. I mean, they didn't really resolve any plot threads, and then they added that Yoda hook to try to get people in on it. That was very much the case. Leslie Headland told the Nerdist season 2 conversations took place. She said, I don't know when that decision will be made. She said, conflicts I see happening specifically in the second season, when she was talking to Kathleen Kennedy. She said, we could make it pretty quickly. We definitely have a timeline. I have a lot of ideas. And again, a lot of it was stuff I sold Kathleen Kennedy early on. Those terms were what I would like to season to go, and the conflicts I see happening specifically in the second season. But the ratings are really, really bad. I mean, if you look at the last several episodes of this, it didn't even chart on the Nielsen ratings, which is a bad sign. That means nobody was watching by the very end, despite all the hype, despite all their promotion efforts that they put into this all the way around. And good riddance to Amanda Stenberg and Leslie Headland, who just have been absolute train wrecks for the Star Wars franchise. Now, we might have another good riddance coming pretty soon. Kathleen Kennedy is ready to retire, but she's waiting for a win, according to an entertainment analyst. She really wants to have a legacy, to be like, oh, I did wonderful with Disney Star Wars. The racists and bigots couldn't stop me, and we made our best film yet with the Rey Jedi Order film. I think that's what she's waiting for at this point, because everything else is kind of just dying on the vine. Kathleen Kennedy has something in common, which is the Star Wars fan base. She wants Kathleen Kennedy to leave Lucasfilm. But according to Film Threat's Chris Gore, she's only willing to walk under one condition. She wants to leave on the heels of a massive critical and commercial success, something they haven't experienced in quite some time. Since the acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, they've been under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy. Back then, the longtime George Lucas and Spielberg associate promised George she would take care of his life's work, but we all know what happened as this went along. So it's been one just diversity train wreck after diversity train wreck. It was such a bad deal last year that South Park made fun of it with an episode. The classic "put a chick in it and make it lame and gay" was a meme that went around from the internet for a long time there, and that's what happened until people just tuned out of Star Wars. People are just not watching it anymore because there's just been too many problems here. So we had the trilogy. Let's remind you how many train wrecks she's been involved with and still has a job. This is how insane Disney is, and how Disney is just maintaining the diversity thing at the expense of investors. Now, we talked about the Disney investment thing yesterday on a video too. You go check that out. Bob Iger is trying to answer to the board. He's in hot water. And so things are going to have to change pretty well. As much as she wants to leave with a commercial success, I think she's going to have to get booted earlier in order to just save any of these brands. So we had the Rey trilogy, the Mary Sue trilogy, which everybody hated. We had Solo, a Star Wars story. Let's not forget that. Oof. We have the Acolyte, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Book of Boba Fett. Painful shows. All of these have been completely unwatchable. And so this is Kathleen Kennedy's legacy. So she needs this Rey film that they're forming right now to be a huge success. And unfortunately for her, she is at a spot where Charmaine Choi, whatever her name is just going to do more of the same of what Leslie Headland did. So we're going to expect just a complete diversity train wreck one more time with feeling. And that should be the end of an era here, thank God. So Chris Gore said, we've been hearing lately that Kathleen Kennedy is not very hands-on with Star Wars at this point. Are you hearing anything? Oh, this is what Hollywood Scooper WW Pro said to Chris Gore. Are you hearing anything similar? to what that she may be operating in title only, at least for now. And he says she wants to retire and leave, but she wants to do it with a win. So we'll see what happens at this juncture. I don't think a win's coming. I think that's pretty easy to see at this point. She's 71 years old, and that's pretty much the end of things. We showed you the Acolyte score at this point. Disney stock, though, is not looking like they're having much of a win. We had the big train wreck yesterday, and you could see just where it's been gone since the investor call. Not so good for Disney. Now, I'm hearing it's probably going to get even worse as far as things go, but we'll see as time goes on. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and please check out our awesome science fiction epic graphic novel right here, guys. You'll love this, and I can't reiterate enough that we need you to come in and support this. Let's get this to new heights. Maybe one day they'll start making films of this. I'd love it. Thank you so much for the support so far. That's in the description below. We'll be back soon.